Sat Shri Akal, everyone. Welcome back to the Crypto Khalsa. Today we have with us Kieron from TradeSta. Just giving a brief info about TradeSta. TradeSta is a perpetual trading desk that goes beyond crypto. The platform enables trading across crypto, RWAs, commodities. It's basically a perpetual leverage trading platform where users can trade major cryptocurrencies and equities. Thank you, Karen, for joining. How are you feeling today?
Really good, actually. We've had a really good MVP. And first of all, thank you very much for having me, Hardeep. It's great to be here and obviously share a little bit of insight into this with you. I'm really good, really good. It's been a really good morning, actually. We've made a small little announcement this morning, so things are really good.
That's really awesome to know. Let's start off with your basic introduction. Can you introduce yourself and share a bit about your background?
Yeah, sure. So, as you've rightly said, I'm Kieron. I'm the co-founder and the CEO of TradeSta. Um, my journey in DeFi or crypto, however you really want to say it, right? But DeFi is where I'm at now. But my journey really started back in 2018 when I joined a company called Banks Group. They focused really heavily on crypto payments and allowing users to spend digital assets on a card. Basically, we managed to bring in some really big clients like Ledger, MetaMask, 1inch, just to name a few. I started out there in the sales division, helped on bringing in the clients, like I say, with Ledger, 1inch, and many others, developing sort of crypto solutions to bring crypto cards to the mainstream. Um, Fast forward to last year, in April last year, which was becoming sort of my end towards banks, purely because we were working on the MetaMask card, to be honest, and they've what banks have done is they turned the cards into self-custody cards, so you could connect a MetaMask wallet, you can connect, other wallets and stuff to a card and spend directly from self-custody, which was kind of like the end goal. And from my point of view, I decided that my work was kind of finished there. I wanted to go off and build my own project. So I sat down with Hassan, who's our CTO and co-founder, and also worked at banks. And we were kind of looking at it as to see, where is there a gap in this market? Where could we fit into this, to the DeFi market? Myself and Hassan are big DGens. I'm just going to throw it out there. We're big DGens. We love a trade. We love a bit of a gamble on a speculative asset. And we were seeing that there was a little bit of a gap there for a perps dex that didn't just focus on crypto, but focus on other things as well. So, for example, like I can go, I think there's more questions coming up into this. I'll go into that later, actually. So we actually saw the gap in the market, really, where like there was a need for a truly decentralized platform that allowed users to have full self-custody, use whatever wallet they want, right? We don't dictate what they use in terms of wallet, and we don't dictate how they trade. That allows them to trade, obviously, crypto, like you mentioned at the beginning, Hardy, right? Crypto, commodities, RWAs, stocks, shares, all that type of fun stuff, all in one place, and without any middleman counterparty risk, right? So that risk that was there from using a custodial platform like, the FTX stuff, or even more recently, Bybit's had a little bit of a hack. Thank God it didn't affect users, but it could have done. So that's where we sort of saw it. That was our vision. So for us, it's all about giving traders back the control, I would say. And because we are traders ourselves, and like I said, we're massive degens, we love DeFi. And we kind of got tired of the old boring centralized problems that you get with onboarding and all the other stuff. So that's my background. That's where sort of like TradeSta was born, and how me and Hassan met.
That's awesome. Let's dive deep more into your inspiration behind the creation of this platform. Can you tell us how and what exactly inspired you to create TradeSta, and what is the exact problem that you intend to solve with this? Because I'm sure there are other perpetual dexes as well in the market. What
Yeah,
makes you stand out from what they are not offering and what TradeSta is offering?
sure. I'm going to ask you a question. If that's all right, Hadi. Do
Mhm.
you trade at all? Do you trade crypto, commodities, or any other assets yourself?
As you said, we all are degens. We all do a lot of things. So yes, we are involved everywhere.
Okay. So can you do that in one platform without losing custody?
I would say there is a mix of a lot of these centralized and decentralized authorities functioning in such perpetual platforms. Um, but I believe there is yet to come products which offer total decentralization.
Yep.
And if anyone is able to achieve that through ZK rollup or any different technology that no one has yet seen, I think that would be something which would be really awesome. Um,
Uh,
so there are a couple of platforms that I have seen, like if you've heard about Raindex, um, they are offering automated trading strategies, not exactly perpetuals, but they are offering decentralized trading strategies. That's a step towards trading in a decentralized way, because of course that the problem that you told about centralized exchanges asking a lot of questions about onboarding, it's like really a headache, right?
yep.
And no one really wants to answer. But the problem statement that I want to like understand how TradeSta is fixing is the execution speed, because in the decentralized web you really have to depend on the execution time, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So how do you improve that, and what is the solution that you are offering?
So I'll go back to like the first bit first, and then the the pieces will go together. But so the reason I asked you that question is
Mhm.
you're a degen. I'm a degen. We trade multiple cryptos. I also trade commodities, forex, and all that other stuff. And I'm
Mhm.
sure you might do the same. I'm making assumptions here, Hadi, but
Yeah,
I'm making a little bit of an assumption there. But there are probably listeners that do the same thing as me, where they like to
yeah.
hedge their risk. Right? You don't just have everything in crypto.
Mhm.
You have it in stocks, shares, commodities, all the other fun stuff. There is
Mhm.
no decentralized platform that allows you to do all of those different asset classes under one
Mhm.
roof and with complete decentralization, where you use your own wallet, you control the funds that go in, you control your positions, you control the funds come out. You are completely right though. I do like what Raindex are doing in terms of the automation side of it. That's something we're looking
Mhm.
at in the future in terms of automated trading and using maybe an AI agent, and then also socializing it so users can trade,
Exactly.
so users can then, and socializing a little bit so that users can actually follow successful traders on the platform
Yeah.
with the click of a button and allocating a specific amount using delegation account abstraction,
Mhm.
and then but giving the users as well the authority to actually zk it so that they don't, so that their trades can't be followed, right? It'll be up to the
Mhm.
user. um but yeah, I mean, when I thought about TradeSta, if you want to do perps on crypto, you'd
Mhm.
have to go to either like your GMX or your Hyperliquids or whatever in decentralization, or you
Right.
go over to Binance or you go to FTX or whatever, right? If you then
Right.
wanted to do commodities, you'd end up on eToro or Trading 212 or any of that type of stuff. And then the RDB
Mhm.
side, same sort of scenario. So
Right.
you end up getting stuck on either a centralized exchange to try and do everything, or you're having to sort of jumble around and try and find like, you know, a
Mhm.
product that suits you. So that's where the problem statement came from. That's where like the inspiration came from, because I was the guy
Mhm.
that would go and trade a bit of everything. Hassan trades a hell of a lot of crypto. Some of our other guys, they all trade meme coins and other stuff as well. But
Mhm.
and let's be real, when the FTX collapse happened, was around like it was all happening around the time we were coming out with this. To be fair, when we're thinking about it, it killed
Mhm.
off so many traders. People who genuinely trusted that centralized exchange, genuinely trusted Sam Bankman-Fried. They trusted what he was doing, and people put loads of trust as well in CZ and all the other guys. CZ is a bit
Mhm.
different, to be honest, but billions of money, billions and billions of user funds just disappeared overnight,
Yeah.
and it was happening for a hell of a long time. And if it
Yeah.
wasn't for what happened, we would never have known, and it could still be going on today.
Correct.
So I was one of those people that lost when FTX collapsed. I lost money, so did the San, and it was a bit of a wake up call for me that if I'm going to trade, I want to trade completely decentralized. I don't touch a centralized platform anymore. And I wanted to do the same for commodities because I used eToro, I used Trading 212, and I wanted to do the same thing. That's why we built TradeSta. We wanted to, like I said, give the control back to the user. You asked me about a fix and like how we do it in that sort of way, right?
Yeah, the finality and the centralized exchanges, they use WebSockets and high frequency trading systems in place, right? So they make sure that your execution is executed in nanoseconds, and
Yeah.
that's where the profit is, right? So how do you make sure, like, how do you fix this problem at your end, or are you still working on it? Still, first the objective is to create a decentralized product, and then you'll improve um by enabling like a blockchain, something like Monad, which is offering a 10,000 DPS. That's what they're proposing. I think that would be a really good fit for a platform like you, where so many transactions um, can go through, unlike all the L2 blocks, which basically just they improve the execution time, but the gas fees is like it just improves phenomenally. But when the L1 gas price goes up, again the gas price again rises. So that's a problem that I don't see a lot of other players apart from L1, like blockchains like Caspa, or L1 exchanges like Monad, even intending to fix it.
So what we did is we partnered. So when we were looking at building this, we initially sort of looked at block times, block speeds, transaction per second. We
Mm,
initially thought about building that. In fact, it doesn't matter which network we build it on, to be honest. The thing that mattered
mm,
the most was the speed of that network. So we
correct.
initially went for like an EVM compatible way of doing it. So we initially
Mm,
sort of scoped this out. When we were scoping out, we initially scoped it out and used Arbitrum to sort of like scope it out
mm,
and look how it would work. Then we
mhm,
started to go out there into the market, and we were speaking to networks and ecosystems, and there were a few that were interested in doing it with us. And the one that sort of like piqued us the most, honestly, was Avalanche. So we went
mm,
with Avalanche as a blockchain. There was several reasons that we went with Avalanche
mm,
for our initial sort of launch period, um, and that is purely the cost, right? You're
yeah,
talking
I do.
zero point, you're talking 0.01 cent per transaction.
Yeah.
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 Um, Speed is relatively quick. It was quicker than what we were looking at with some of the others. Again, I'm not going to sort of go in and name any of the others that we spoke to because it's just not fair to do that. And we are still talking about potentially doing it with them in the future as well. So we went with Avalanche for that reason. And the way that we've been able to sort of speed this up is we don't do
Mm,
everything in individual transactions. We batch some of the
mm,
transactions together. So therefore, if when you're executing a trade, for example, it's not several transactions behind the scenes. It's one big
okay.
transaction. And by doing it as
Mm,
one big transaction, it speeds it up by milliseconds. Don't get me wrong, Hardeep. It's not groundbreaking, but by doing it, those milliseconds take really do make a difference when it comes to trading, right?
mm,
Um,
mhm,
the Oracle also plays a role in this as well. So we needed an Oracle that to give us our pricing. We needed an
mhm,
Oracle that could give us real prices at a really good speed without having
mhm,
to like hit back, call back, do this, do none of that stuff. So like we ended up going with Pyth, and we partnered
mhm,
with Pyth, and they've been absolutely brilliant. Their support's been fantastic. I want to take my hat off to them. Really, they've been absolutely brilliant.
mhm,
And not only that as well, we needed to be able to have an oracle that didn't just look at the crypto price market, but also looked at other asset classes as well. Because obviously, with us being uh, cross asset, um, so that's why we went with Pyth as well. And when you then combine those two things together, you've got the speed of the oracle, which is live, almost like a live feed, Hadeep. There is literally almost no delay in terms of real world pricing to on-chain pricing, right? It's pretty much the same. There's fractional denominations in it. And I mean fractional, like 0.000001. So you wouldn't even notice it. And then that's the same as well with the block time. So you combine them together, and the fact that we've ensured that our infrastructure is completely, let's just say it was rigorously tested to the point of breaking. We broke it 3 times on purpose to see how much hammer it could take, and to make sure that it was all ready. So yeah, I would say that's how we sped that up and made it so like the execution is quick. We are looking at another way of we are looking at sort of maybe even bringing in. This is obviously in a few probably towards the end of the year we'll even start thinking about this again. But there is actually talks of potentially even building our own sort of L2 on an L2 specifically for TradeSta.
Something like OPBNB, which is like built on the top of Binance Smart Chain.
Exactly. Yeah, very similar to kind of like the Hyperliquid sort of scenario there. But right now we don't need to because it's quick enough as it is, and we don't need to do any sort of. We don't need to take custody of the funds or have users move the funds on chain onto like a network. The whole point is users stay in control.
Okay. Let's move on.
Sure.
Let's talk about the real world assets and what role do RWAs play in your platform's vision?
Sure. So RWAs are a big topic at the moment. A lot of networks are onboarding them. They're building out with them. Avalanche has got some really good projects coming down the pipeline. And obviously, excuse me, I needed to do the exact same thing then as you, Hardeep. Sorry. I needed to take a cough. But I would say RWAs are a core pillar of what we're trying to offer here, right? Because TradeSta vision when we were building this wasn't just to be another crypto perps dex. We get lost in the noise, right?
Correct.
You get lost in the noise. We needed something to stand out, and we needed something that hadn't been done, or something we could execute better. And when we were thinking about building a perps dex, we wanted to build a trading hub. We wanted to build a hub, basically, Hardeep. That's the best way to describe us, that gives traders access to pretty much any market that they want to hit, or any asset that they want to hit, whether that's RWAs, crypto, without leaving DeFi. So this is also plays into the question you asked me before. Like the reason that we chose, another reason that we looked at Avalanche as well, and we worked with Avalanche, was they have got a lot of projects coming down the pipeline that are all RWA focused. And one thing that I always look at, and I want to sort of give everybody this advice is, when you're looking to partner with like a chain or whatever, don't just look at kind of like what they're going to offer you at face value. You want to look at the ecosystem in which it is building. And I think one thing that Avalanche has done really well is they do sort of corner quite a lot of the markets. They're massive in gaming. We all know they're massive in gaming. They've got some of the sort of more corporate side of things and governmental side of things as well, which is great. They've got the DeFi side, the TradFi coming into DeFi space, and then RWA. They've got a lot of people that they're working with, a lot of businesses that they're working with there. So that was another reason we chose them, because we want to. Can you imagine coming to the platform and being able to execute a 10x leverage, let's say, on a plot of land, right, or on real estate, or things like that, right, and being able to speculate against things that you just can't do in the real world, right? You can't really even do that in the real world. So imagine being able to do that, right, in DeFi. You're taking it at that step further than just buying an RWA. You're able then to actually like leverage the price of the asset. So that's where I would say, but there's other markets as well that we're looking at alongside this. So unfortunately, we didn't launch it during our MVP. So our MVP went live last Wednesday. And unfortunately, we weren't able to sort of get it into the product fully. But there's stocks, there's shares, and the indices side of it. We did manage to get gold in there. We got oil, we got silver, We got things
Mm,
like, we also got the FX in there as well. So on the platform, you'll actually be able to leverage trade
mm.
against forex.
Let's go ahead a bit deeper in the execution, if that is possible. Like, suppose you've like listed gold or silver on your platform, right? If a user trades on a TradeSta, how is he actually investing in the gold's market? Are you doing that through the Oracle, or are
Yes.
you like what
Yeah.
exactly is the process?
So with us, it's stablecoin in, stablecoin out. So you use stablecoin as your collateral asset, and then when you win a trade, you get paid out in stablecoin. Now, the great thing about the Oracle that we're utilizing is it still affects the price. So when a purchase happens on the platform, it still
Hmm.
affects the open market. Now, unlike some of the other platforms, yes, if you buy I don't know a bullion of gold, you can
Hmm.
literally request to have that bullion sent to you. This is a perp dex. You can't do that. You're not buying it. You're not buying it. You're just
Correct.
hedging against the price. So
Hmm.
that's kind of how it works as TradeSta. So you're not physically buying the asset per se, but it
Correct.
does affect them. It does affect the open market through the
Hmm.
Oracle.
All right. That is really awesome. Let's talk more about the security and the transparency for users. How do the Vault smart contracts position themselves into the algorithm or the role play? How do they really coordinate, and how do you enhance your security and transparency for users so that they feel more confident for trading on your platform?
Yeah, sure. So we utilize vault contracts within. So let me just rewind that a little bit. So the user flow, when a user comes to the platform and they've connected their wallet, and let's say they're opening a 10x leverage on Bitcoin, right? Let's say Bitcoin.
Mhm.
They're opening a 10x leverage on Bitcoin.
Hmm.
That stable coin that they've put up as collateral moves into a position manager contract, which acts almost like an escrow, right? So those
Hmm.
funds can't be touched by us, they can't be touched by them, right? Until the trade's either completed, they withdraw, or whatever. Now, nobody can access those funds whilst they're in that position manager, apart from triggers from the application layer or the user
Hmm.
themselves, right? If the user wins their trade, let's say they've won on their 10x leverage, they've got a profit. So what happens then is the funds move from the position manager. The funds remain in the position manager, but the vault itself, where all of the funds are kept, pays the user back both their collateral and their profit. And then what happens simultaneously is the position manager, as it's now closed, removes those funds and sends them back to the vault. The reason we do it that way, again, is because of the speed piece as well. So it's not
Makes
just,
sense.
yeah. So the vault itself isn't where the user's funds sit. The vault is where the funds sit post set, it's for settlements to the user, or if a user's funds lose, it goes back in there to settle the next. So the security aspect is actually the position manager here, which acts as an escrow, which has no way of being touched. There's no admin functions.
Hmm. Okay. So suppose there's a use case where a user takes a short position on Bitcoin and Bitcoin goes down, and now like the user wins in that case, right? He's making some profit. And suppose it is an isolated leverage on Bitcoin. Now, if the user wants to take the money out, how do you make sure that that money is transferred legitimately, and your vault should have enough funds to cover his or her profits, right? In case your vault doesn't have the money to pay him or her back, how do you make sure that he's instantly gratified, or do you take some time to gratify them? Because I think that's a problem in a lot of the centralized or decentralized, sorry, perpetual platforms, that the liquidity is not
Scarce.
satisfactory. So if the user wants to take a short position of say $1 million and he's able to make say $10,000, and your vault only has say $5,000 in it, so how will you pay him back?
The user wouldn't have been able to execute a trade that leverage
Hmm.
right at that moment in time, for one,
Got it. Yeah.
because we have. So the vault contracts, basically the market. that sit within the vaults,
Mm,
right? They're individual markets. So the vault is one big vault, but inside the vault, each asset has its own market.
mm,
So what we do
oh,
is we map that based on the collateral that the user are going to use, the leverage that they're going to use, what's available in that
mm,
pot, how many open positions we have already, how many closed positions, how many positions are winning, losing, so on and so forth. We take all of that into consideration. There's quite a big mathematical solution behind the scenes,
mm,
mathematical solution behind the scenes
mm.
that will work all of that out and then say, sorry, Mr. User, right? You can't execute at this price, but we can give you this. Do you see what I mean? That's
That
number
is
one,
that is awesome.
right?
Second step of this problem, suppose if the user takes a short
There is a
position.
second step to that as well, Hardeep. Sorry. So that's number one. So we wouldn't allow it
Mm,
to happen. But number two, we are in talks at the moment with a bunch of
mhm.
liquidity providers, right? That want to
Yeah.
sort of be able to that we will be able to offset into. So should should that happen, we have backup liquidity that we can call upon.
Mm,
Should it ever happen, where the user does manage to execute a trade like that, there is backup
mm,
liquidity that we can call upon to ensure that the user is paid.
mm. Okay. Suppose that there is another use case. Suppose when the user took the trade and the vault has the money to back him up, right? So
Yep.
he took the trade, suppose of $1,000. Now he is able to make during the process. He took about say a 50x leverage, right? um, Now he is able to make the profits that are like superseding the amount that is in your world. What do you do in that case? Because initially when he put the trade, he was successfully executing it. The smart contracts executed the logic in a mathematical way, and it executed, it went through. But what after when the user is making more money than he should? Do you cut off the trade? Because that's what most platforms do. They cut the trade off. Or do you like help your LP, take help from your LPs and give the money to the user?
So there is no like limitation to what the user can make in that respect,
Hmm.
Hardy. If that's what you're trying to say, like, would we kill a trade for a user? Is that what you're trying to say? It's like, would we kill that trade for the user because they're making too
So,
much money?
so you kill the trade because you don't have the money to pay him back. So what do you do
No,
in
no, we'd
that
call
case?
upon the LP in that scenario. We'd offset it and call upon
Mm,
the LP, right? Um,
got okay.
because in that scenario, right, we have the backup there, so we wouldn't need to. We're building a network of this liquidity piece as well behind the scenes, right? That triggers into multiple different ones. So,
Hmm.
well, you have to look at TradeSta. TradeSta is not done in a traditional way. Like, we're not calling upon an order book, for example. It's not done like that.
Hmm.
But we are able to call upon liquidity behind the scenes should we need to. There is also other things in place that we have risk management tools that are in place
Hmm.
to alleviate any risk and knows when to call upon the liquidity to drag in, and also
Correct.
knows when to push back. Okay, so like if our pot is too high and we know that we've called upon liquidity and therefore owe a certain amount of liquidity back, we know that
Hmm.
that then is going to go back as well, right? So
Hmm.
from our security perspective, we've gone from like security more into like fund management, to be fair, but like um the fund management system in a DeFi platform is somewhat more complex because you can't just call upon
Correct.
another exchange, right? You can't just call up
Correct.
call up, I don't
Hmm.
know, a market maker and be like, right, I need you to market make on me because I'm X, Y, and Z. You can't do
Yeah.
that in DeFi, right? Um,
Awesome.
so we have built a really complex, to be fair,
Hmm.
super complex, um, in a good way. I don't mean complex in like a bad way, but we've built a really good complex way
Hmm.
of fund management, of user fund management, position management. So we have
Hmm.
position management trackers, we have fund management trackers, we have vault management trackers. All of these
Hmm.
things are listening within the system to know as and
Hmm.
when to move, trigger, send, kill, whatever. Right. Um,
Hmm.
when to be honest with you, we launched the MVP and it's been very successful. Nothing's really the only thing that failed was the first day with the liquidation piece
Hmm.
was just not set correctly,
Hmm.
and that was changed. That's the only issue that we found. So everything's working as we'd expect it to. We've even
Hmm.
tested it with no funds in the vault on
Hmm.
purpose. to see what happened in that scenario, and it did exactly what it should have done. It called upon the LP and dropped us in some funds. The LP knew we were doing it though, right? So they were
Hmm.
they were gracious enough to let us have that bit for nothing. So
Okay. So you must be having a good network of LPs backing you in the situations where, of course, you need more funds, and then you pay them in the APYs of your own listing token that you are intending to launch in the future.
correct. Yeah,
Makes sense.
exactly. Yeah.
That's a part of the tokenomics. That is really awesome. Let's move on. One thing that I really found interesting when I was like researching is, why did you choose stable coin based collateral and payout system? Because most of the decentralized finance systems that I've researched, is compound finance or Aave, they offer you a variety of solutions, whether it is Bitcoin or Ethereum or Ripple or all those different asset classes, and you can take loans against these collaterals, right?
Yeah.
And when these assets, their volatility increases or decreases accordingly, your liquidation price goes up or down, right? So, what was the reason you actually chose only stable coins? Because that kills a lot of your market, right? A lot of the people who would have a lot of the bitcoins and they want to trade on your platform, they would just collateralize Bitcoin and take stable coin. Why would you stop them from using your platform? Is there a specific technology reason, or is that a business decision? Just let us know.
A bit of both, really. Um, there is a bit of both, Hardy, but there's two
Mhm.
main big reasons really where that we went stablecoin collateral in and stablecoin like stablecoin out. One was
Mhm.
simplicity. So
Hmm.
trading should be simple. It should be easy for you to get into it. You sh- I'll use I'm not going to name the platform, but I'll use an example of my own. So I went to a DeFi platform. Um, and then they were offering several different asset classes that you could use. So you could use Ethereum, Bitcoin, USDC, USDT, right? You could use
APY.
all these ones to get in. But then what happened was it had to be on a specific network. Right, okay, well, let me bridge into that network to use it. Right, I bridged in.
Mm,
I think it was ETH.
mm,
I think I used ETH. Yeah, it was ETH. But then what happened
mm,
was I was executing the trade in USD. So therefore, I'm giving you my ETH. You're giving me the price in USD anyway. And then what you're doing in the background is you're swapping my Ethereum to that USDC to then
mm,
execute the trade. And then when I request the funds back, you're then swapping in the background to give me the funds back. So therefore, I'm not just losing money on the trade, let's say, because you're charging me a funding rate.
mm,
I'm also then losing funds on the bridge and the swap.
mm.
So
Makes
actually,
sense.
yeah, the platform's making revenue from doing that, and I understand why they're doing that. But the user's the one losing out. The so what we looked at was, well, if we just use stablecoin in, stablecoin out on a one network, we don't have to mess around building bridges in the background, building all of that in the background for then a user to be absolutely confused out of the head when we're showing them a profit of $15, let's say, but actually they only receive $10 because of all the fees behind the scenes. So therefore
Mm-hmm.
we that was one aspect of it. The second is volatility risk as well. So this is a business decision, right? And also from a user point of view. There's the volatility risk. So I mean, don't get me wrong, if you're using like one of the main assets like Ethereum or Bitcoin, it doesn't really make as much difference. But if you're accepting other things as collateral, the value of your margin is constantly fluctuating, which then means that you get liquidated because the market moves against you. It means your collateral
Mm-hmm.
value goes down, so therefore you're going to be margin called constantly, which means you're going to have to be topping up your collateral and to keep the position. Um, and it's just not that easy. And then also as well, from a selfish point of view, this is the third reason. From a selfish point of view, as a platform,
Mm.
it just makes our life
Right.
so much easier from a financial perspective to be able to actually know what's in, what's out, and also as well be able to manage the funds better. Like it's slightly
Yeah.
selfish. No, I'm not saying by any stretch of the imagination that we're going to be stablecoin in, stablecoin out forever. I'm just saying
Mm,
right now is as we're a new platform, we want to be the three key things that we said when we built this. from a user experience point of view is keep it simple, make it easy, and no more than 2 clicks on
Hmm.
anything. Because if they have to do, if it's over complex and they look at a platform and you've got a graph here and then this bar here and nah, right? I've traded for a long time, and even sometimes I look at some of these platforms and think that's not needed. That's not needed. What's the point in that? All I want to see is X, Y, and Z. And then that's the same thing as well when it comes to, that's the simplicity piece. Then when it comes to the 2-click thing, literally user clicks, connects wallet. That's 1 click. Click, execute trade. It's 2 clicks. No more clicks than that. That's it. That's all they
Hmm.
have to do, right? And it just alleviates unnecessary complexity behind the scenes as well from a smart contract level. You'll then add, and one thing that when we were talking about this with our blockchain engineer Toba and we were going through it in a little bit more, I was like, the least amount of steps that our contract has to take or interact with, the better, because then we are mitigating any risk of attack at those connection points.
Makes
So if
sense.
you've got multiple layers of smart contracts all talking to each other, you may have had that
Hmm.
contract audited 1,000 times, but I guarantee you somebody will still find something somewhere. So we wanted to keep it really simple. Really, yeah, that was just it. Really, simplicity in all together, Hadip, and
Hmm.
yeah. But I'm
That's
not saying
really.
we won't support in the future.
Hmm. I mean, that's one of the most satisfying answers that I would expect. I think you really explained it thoroughly, and
Thank
I'm really glad we are doing this podcast today, because I think it's a very important strategic decision. I don't think anyone is even talking about complexity in all these systems. They take crazy amount of clicks to execute a simple strategy, and anything that you do in all these DeFi platforms, you need to approve a transaction, then you need to like go all through different steps
Yeah,
that you need to procure, and then you have to go through all the number of clicks that you have to. I'm happy that someone in the industry is actually thinking about creating a world class user experience that can be done. I mean, this is a very similar mindset that you and me share. When I go through these platforms where a user has to do crazy amount of clicks just to get a simple thing executed, which could have been done without doing. So I think that's a wonderful decision, not only from the
thank
business
you.
standpoint, but also from the technology standpoint. It makes much more things clearer, and also it gives you the opportunity to partner up with a lot of more people, new stable coins, and all the stable coins are technically your potential customers. So
Yeah,
that's
100%. Yeah. The other thing as well
let's.
is the
Mhm.
during the MVP, the feedback that we've had from the users, we've been
Mhm.
very happy with, in all honesty, because a lot of them are saying exactly what we wanted for it to do, which is things like, yeah, it's great, it's really simple to use, it's easy to understand. I don't have to do 100 clicks, right?
Mhm.
That is the feedback that we're getting. So I think we have succeeded. I mean, we'll never succeed because like the product's never going to be finished because you're always adding new things to it. But the feedback that we have got that, let's say, was negative or not positive, right, has been little
Mhm.
UI niggles. Like it would be really good if we could see X, Y, and like we could see all of our open positions under one tab, right?
Mhm.
Simple things that we, as the developers, kind of didn't think about because we were
Mhm.
thinking about it as from our user experience, and that's why we launched an MVP and just we literally opened it up and was like, anybody that wants to test it, you're more than likely to. I think we've had something like 180 people test it during the
Mhm.
MVP. So, and all the feedback hasn't been. There's been no feedback about the UI or how hard it is to use. It's all been around like, oh, it'd make it even easier if we got a tab that shows X, Y, and Z. So we've taken that on board as well. So thank you, Hadip. I appreciate the feedback.
Mhm.
And if you want to test it yourself, let me know and I'll get you some test funds so you can have a play.
Absolutely, we'll do it live someday. I think that would be really awesome to show
Yeah, man.
everyone
Yeah.
how. I really like the vision. Let's move on to the future of TradeSta and DeFi as per se. What upcoming features or expansions can users look forward to in perspective to the platform? What are the things that you guys are working on? Are there any new features that you plan to or intend to release in future?
Yeah, so right now, the MVP that's actually out there, people can go and test this product right now, today, if they really want
Mm-hmm.
to. They're not using their real money. We're not asking them to do that. We're giving them a synthetic for them to test it and play with it. But
Mm-hmm.
we still need to launch it. There's still two core features of the product that need to go into it. One is take profit, and the other one is stop loss. So take profit and stop loss, that needs to happen. We're looking at how we can do that from a, again, simplistic way. If you go and look at any of the platforms right now, there's a separate tab. If you go and look at like this little sidebar that you can see here, you'll have like a separate tab somewhere where it says SP, stop loss, whatever. We don't want to do that. We want it to actually be here, so the users can actually just, they don't have to move away from this tab, right? Again, it's simple. So we're looking at ways that we can do that. In fact, the bots, not the bots, sorry, the chains are, let me get my words back out. The contracts are actually in development as we speak. We're also looking at sort of more from a compliance perspective. I know we all hate compliance because we're degens, but we kind of still have to do it. So we're looking at sort of bots as well from a compliance perspective that we're building that will check for any illicit funds coming in that are being, for the platform being used in an inappropriate manner. We will then be able to then segregate those funds away from the platform and return them back to whoever it was that was trying to trade. But those trades would be closed because we don't want to mix any illicit with the good. I know that doesn't sound like a very degen thing to do, but we're just planning for the future because we can see that coming. So we're just planning for the future there, guys, right? We're still degens at heart. It breaks me a little bit to have to do it, but we've got to. And I've been doing it.
Degens turning businessman. Let's say degens are now turning proper businessman.
Yeah. The guys also hate me for having to do it, but we've got to. Other
What
good
to
things.
do?
There is other good things coming out as well. So we've done a number of different spaces on Twitter, and we've done a few like things in our community. We're not a massive community, but we're big enough at the moment, and I'm sure we'll grow over time. But we've done a few things with those guys, and one thing that they wanted was a token, something that they can believe in. Myself personally, I wasn't fond of doing a token because I didn't think the platform needed one. But the community wanted something to believe in, out not just the platform, but also as well a token to believe in. So we announced today that we are going to do one. It's not going to be, again, we're going way off course in terms of traditional, because we are going to launch a meme coin with a complete difference of we will not control any of that meme coin. TradeSta as a business will not touch it. We will own zero of it. It's nothing to do, like, it's not ours. We don't own any. If we did choose to buy some, it would be after the token generation event, which means that the community will own 86% of the supply from day dot, from token generation. So, and it then links back to the platform because we'll go back to that collateral bit, Hardeep. The users will be able to use this token as collateral, but it will then burn if they use it as collateral, and stuff like that. I'm not going to go into all the tokenomics pieces because I've yet to actually launch the white paper, even though we've done it. But that is also coming relatively well. We're launching it on Monday.
We have some glimpses of the tokenomics already, so yeah, that
You'll
is
see,
awesome.
you'll see when it launches. Honestly, like, we've got the cutest little mascot. We've gone full meme, right? I'm not the reason we wanted to do a meme is, again, the one thing I enjoy doing, you probably guessed already, is I see a problem and I like to fix it or make it better, right? So the reason we went for a meme coin was simply the fact that we'd seen all these rugs being done over on that platform that pumps it, and it's meant to be fun, right? We've seen it on there where then the devs just rug everybody, and then everybody's losing money. So we thought, well, let's flip it on its head, right? And be like, we will give you all the token supply post TGE, and you guys then control it from there. If us as the developers, we're not going to own any. You guys do whatever you want with it, but we will give you the mechanisms, so the burn mechanisms, and we will seed your liquidity pool through transaction fees on the platform because you're part of our community. So
Hmm.
I'm not going into any more detail than that, Hardeep, but like, yeah, it's completely turning the circle and being like, again, like I said, yeah, I'm not a fan of meme coins, so I was going to turn it
Really
on.
exciting. Let's move on to the most important question. I would say, Kiran, which I think needs to be addressed as well. I think no in the DeFi space, not a lot of people are really talking about the regulatory things. And when perspective is regarding the financial instruments where people are actually putting their hard-earned money, they need to really know whether the platform is well regulated, or whether the funds are like secure or not, or would it just not vanish just one day. So let's discuss more about your approach on the regulatory challenges, especially in the on-chain trading, because it's a very new market as of now. um, how do you what's your vision regarding that? How is it currently regulated, and what's your future plans?
So I think I've sort of touched on this a little bit already, just previously, but like,
Mm-hmm.
we're taking the only approach that is truly DeFi, right? That still follows the ethos of DeFi: self custody, permissionless access, and decentralization. We as a platform don't custody anything. We're a technology layer, right? We're just a technology layer for the users to execute trades with.
Mm-hmm.
The issue I think is with TradFi, and even to be fair, some DeFi products, is they try to force a lot of centralized compliance onto their users, or they
Mm-hmm.
have a really compliance heavy model that ends up in the system that's meant to be borderless and open, but we wanted to go
Mm-hmm.
obviously straight on chain, non custodial perp decks where users remain in full control of their funds. We're not going to take any control of them. But I've sort of like touched on it a little bit. There
Mm-hmm.
are still regulatory changes that are coming down the pipeline, and we have our ear to the ground, as you've
Mm-hmm.
guessed, from what I said earlier on. Um, Excuse me, sorry. We do have there are regular changes coming, and we do already have our ear to the ground, and we are making small changes within the platform,
Mm-hmm.
which is around sort of more AML and making sure that people are not using our product for the wrong reasons. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because there is a way that people could do that. I'm not going to talk about it on here because then I'm just opening it up. But there is ways that people could use the platform to, you know, um, so we've built and we've partnered with people that have built like AI solutions for it, that have block trackers, that can track the source of an asset, so on and so forth, and then an alert. So if we ever get an alert that a trade is on the platform that sort of is illicit, we can then decide what we do from there as a business, uh,
Mm-hmm.
and how we then do it. We're looking
Mm-hmm.
at maybe doing it as an automatic way. So as a user sort of connects to the platform, the wallet is checked at that point. But we don't want to invade too much of the user's privacy as well, because we don't know if the user might interact and connect, but they might not execute a trade, right?
Correct.
So there's also that piece. We still want to remain degen and DeFi without having
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
invading anybody's sort of like previous transaction history and what they've used, you know. But there are things that are happening right now. I think the great thing about us right now is the way that we are positioned is we don't
Mm-hmm.
have to follow as much regulatory constraints as a centralized platform,
Correct.
because we're not handling any funds or anything like that. But
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't mean that we're ignoring it, right? We know that that stuff is coming down the pipeline, so we're preempting that happening. Um,
Mm-hmm.
if it means, if it means that we have to design a way that removes, if it means that we've got to remove the fact that we're not relying on counterparty risk, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then we probably would have to look at how we're going to do that. There's no, from our point of
Mm-hmm.
view, we're not holding users' funds, right? There's no
Mm-hmm.
KYC with us. We're not, we don't have the ability to freeze an account. We just have the ability to block a user from using us, right? From whatever reason. The tracer, I think the infrastructure that we've built
Mm-hmm.
ready is built to be transparent, fully on chain, so everything's transparent,
Mm-hmm.
um, and within the smart contract layer. And if we have to implement any compliance and regulatory aspects of it, if the FCA decide that they want to do that, or, any of the other regulatory, I'm using FCA because I'm in the UK, but any other the regulatory bodies want to do that from a DeFi standpoint, then fine. We're following all the risk warnings that you have to comply with anyway across different jurisdictions. We do block certain jurisdictions from touching the platform anyway that are on the sanctions list. We don't allow certain countries to trade with us for the reasons in which I don't understand. To be fair, on one of them, I don't understand with one of them, but we've done it anyway. And we have all of the warnings and so on and so forth. I think the one thing that's been brought up before, right, and I'm sure you'll bring this up as well, but like one thing that was brought up as well is how do we keep users safe, right, and stop people from touching the platform if they don't know what they're doing. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we're going to be building out a huge educational part of TradeSta. So whereby like we hold daily spaces, we're teaching people how to trade in a sense. And we're going to be having a full-on ambassador program of traders that have been successful, whether that be on TradeSta or other platforms, that can also help users understand how leverage works, why it does what it does, how you can use it in a safe manner without losing all your funds. Things like, and then also as well, from a flip side is we want to make sure that the wider community is safe. We've seen more recently, I don't know if you saw it actually, I don't know if you have saw it, Microsoft announced that they found the new malware that could literally get into your copying and paste and finding wallets that way. So even educational pieces on how to keep your wallet safe, that isn't anything to do with us.
Correct.
If you're going to connect the wallet to us, we want to make sure you're safe.
Correct.
So yeah, sorry, gone on a mad long one there, but yeah, the short answer is right now we don't have to worry too much about regulation, but we know that's what's coming, basically.
Okay. That's important that you know what you're doing, and it's very important to have everyone onboarded on the trust that you imbibe. I think the auditing of smart contracts is very much important in our case, and I think I think almost everything else is um, well prepared, and yeah, let's move on to the last part of the podcast. A typical HR question for Kieron. Where do you see TradeStar in the next 5 years?
Number one, that's where I see it now. So I think for the next 5 years, I see TradeSta to be I want TradeSta to become the go-to platform, right? I want us to be the platform that people come to for decentralized trading, decentralized perp trading, alongside other things, but for crypto, commodities, RWAs, and obviously beyond that. In 5 years' time, that's a long time in crypto, right? A few days is a year sometimes in crypto, because it moves so quickly. So 5 years, I mean, I don't know, maybe we're on space hoppers, driving around, but yeah. As a business, as TradeSta is, I want us to be number one in terms of transaction volumes. I want us to be number one in terms of education, and I'd love us to be a household name, but I'd like us to be a household name in the DGen space. I think that's a big enough goal for me right now, where everybody in the DGen space is talking about us and knows who we are and things like that. The goal is to make everything tradable. That's our goal within that 5-year time, is to make everything that can possibly be tradable on chain, even down to the likes of, I know we've seen it with NFTs, but even down to the likes of tokenized Pokemon cards. How cool would it be to leverage one of those, right? It's little things like that. Art, I say that was a bit silly, but like art, forex, gold, silver, oil, property, things like that. That'd be really cool to have on the platform. Yeah, I would say just that's it really. And automation. Sorry, no. There's one bit that I missed as well. I think fully automated. So everything was fully automated. There'll be AI agents in there. We do plan on having a social aspect to TradeSta where you can chat to each other. The wallet address is your username, and you can chat to each other about trades that you're doing. and really bring that social piece in there. So so it'll be more like DeFi meets social media
Hmm.
meets RWAs basically. Sorry about
Hmm.
that.
Everything is so connected in the Apple ecosystem. Like even if you get call on your phone and your Wi-Fi is on, you'll get a call on your laptop.
That is one of the reasons I love Mac, and one of the reasons I hate Mac. It's I love it because everything is connected, so I only need one device. I mean, I've got my phone and stuff, but I only need one device if I'm on, and I spend a lot of my time on my computer. Um,
Hmm.
but also as well, when you're in sort of things like this and you're on calls, and then you're getting a call in a call and on a call, that's when it becomes frustrating. Like,
I think this is a primary example when I can say like too much of automation, it just infuriates you, right? At times, it has to be
honestly,
some
yeah.
manual.
I love automation. Don't get me wrong. I'm one of those people that would like. I would love everything to be automated, but then I get bored as well, right? Like,
Yeah,
and and it is frustrating because my phone's here. But then what happens is you get the phone rings, then the MacBook rings, then the Alexa starts kicking off because you've got a call coming
and
in.
then the Apple Watch is
Then the
ringing, and
Apple
then
Watch is.
you are
Then
like
I've got
in your paranoid state. What is happening?
then you've got your iPads going off, and the car's starting to beep at you eventually. So yeah, it's
Yeah,
great. It is great. Don't get me wrong, but it is one of the reasons I hate and love Mac at the same time. Um, yeah.
awesome.
Sorry, I do apologize. I
Let's
really
wrap
thrown
it
me
up.
off there.
How can listeners learn more and get involved with TradeSta? Karen.
Sure. Yeah, sure. So if you so TradeSta is at tradesta.io. So if you literally go to tradesta.io, that's our website. The MVP is live. If you want to get involved, you can. You can test the platform, request some test funds, and crack on and have a good time.
Hmm.
You can find me over on X, which was formerly Twitter, and my handle is just at TradeSta CEO. The
Hmm.
TradeSta Twitter is TradeSta PerpsDex over
Hmm.
on X.
We'll
And
make
if you want
sure
to get
all the
involved,
links are listed in the video in description. So we'll make sure all your personal links and are there
yeah,
so that the viewers who would want to stay in touch with you can definitely contact you.
awesome, nice one. And then you can hit us up on Telegram as well at TradeSta Chat. So,
Awesome.
any questions? Give us a shout.
Hmm. On that note, Karen, thank you so much for your time. It was a wonderful discussion, I suppose. We dug really deeply into the technology side of things, how smart contracts are really working, and you really know your deal, which is really awesome to have.
Thank you.
Um Thank you so much for your time, man. It was a wonderful discussion, and looking forward for maybe a live demo when the product is live, and we'll be happy to showcase it to our audience how the platform is working, and uh, that would be really good.
I'd be happy to do it for you as well, Adi, to actually show you a leverage trade winning on 100x leverage. That's what we'll go for. $100,000, 100x leverage on whichever token you want me to do. That's what
Oh
we'll
my
go
god,
for.
which is amazing. We'll make $1 million together. That's awesome.
Well, not really. I'd lose it. I'd be giving it myself back, right? Because it comes from our. So yeah,
That's
no.
awesome.
Thank you very much for having me. By the way, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for reaching out. And
Hmm.
yeah, if we could do another one and then do a live demo, I'm more than happy to do that, my friend.
Absolutely. Till then, see you. Have a nice day. Bye.
You too, my friend.